Apple discontinues the original HomePod. What's going on with that? Plus, the Microsoft Bethesda sale is official. What does this mean for the future of Bethesda titles? All of that and more on the Tech Summit Podcast, episode 35. I'm Chris.
I'm Francisco.
And if you guys are watching on YouTube, we have all of that social media stuff at the bottom of the video for Tech Summit.
And if you're listening on other platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and the like, then you should be able to find our social media stuff down in the description of each respective app.
That's right. And let's just get right into things. We're going to start off, of course, with the return of our brand new segment, Stock Scoop. Yes, we have a couple of updates when it comes to GameStop stock.
Let's get into the news.
Let's start with you.
With me?
Yes.
Oh, I sold.
Yes. Tell us about it.
Yeah, I sold because I just saw that I was finally able to break even. So I just wanted to get rid of it. It was always a panic having that gamble on my phone every time. Yeah. When I spent almost $300 on that stock, and then seeing it plummet all the way down to like 100 just made me almost want to cry.
So, okay, so what happened is Wednesday was a bit of a wild day for the stock. And what happened is it continually sailed higher and higher. It was a constant trend upwards. And there was a point where it was around $350 per share before the entire before trading halted on the stock, plummeted down, then they halted it again, and then it plummeted down again. It lost $150 in the span of about 5 or 10 minutes. It went from $350 to about $198, which, is pretty scary, although the stock continued to rise even despite that.
Yeah.
It lost $150 in a single day and then still finished in the green. That is insanity.
It is, especially like considering how low it went after that whole fiasco with Robinhood. That lasted a while.
Yeah, it did. And so like even despite losing all of that, it finished in the green and has continually rised up the entire, week. As of right now, it is at $267.77. Of course, it is not going up or down because, it is the weekend that we are recording this. And so that is a definitive price that is going to stay that way until Monday. So thankfully, I don't have to say that and then it turns out it's outdated. Yes, so it's gone up $112 in the past week. That's even including the extreme high followed by the plummeting low that it went on that one Wednesday. Even though we say plummeting low, even if it did stay at 198, it still would have been higher than how it started the week.
Yeah. Are you planning on hanging on to it still?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
I'm holding. I'm going to hold.
Diamond hand, huh?
I'm not going to paper hand it like I did last time. Last time, I sold my 25 shares for a loss of $60. Not too much. It was a $60 loss. But my point, what I'm getting at is I could have been profiting way more than what I currently am.
Right.
Like, right now, my money is more or less doubled. If I had the amount that I had before, it would have been about quadrupled.
I see.
So there's a little bit of like, what could have been. But
It happened.
as a mutual friend of ours has said, I am gambling. You don't necessarily know what's going on. Stop focusing on what you lost. Focus on what you're getting right now. I think you know exactly which friend I'm talking about.
Yeah, I think so.
To the grave. But that's a small little thing about GameStop. Everyone's waiting to see what's happening on the 19th. That's supposed to be the big day. Although you also already had one person saying, stop putting a hard day on it.
I mean,
it happens when it happens.
Well, what if the world just ends on the 19th? And that's the big thing about the...
Well, then, money don't matter at that point then, so money stops mattering.
I guess so.
And, of course, tangentially related because they do tend to sometimes follow trends, although it is starting to break away a little bit. AMC also has had a pretty good week. It went up $1 yesterday.
Woo!
On the entire week, it went up $2.79.
$2.79.
$2.79,
okay.
Yes. It also had its own little peak on Wednesday, only to drop down again as well. Not as hard as GameStop did, but
Yeah.
again, it's starting to break away just a little bit. But nevertheless, AMC is still kind of in a similar boat. I'm also profiting on that one. I still have the full 45 on that. That one I'm holding on to for at least a little while longer. Honestly, I feel like that's more of a long-term one, but if it does spike up the same way GameStop is anticipated to, then I might sell. let it dip, and then buy right again.
Again, like GameStop is certainly a lot more likely. Like as soon as I sold or just like put mine out on the market for it to be bought, um, I thought to myself, okay, like maybe if it ever does go back down to like $40, I might buy a couple of shares of it and maybe I don't know, like just stir up some kind of controversy around it. Hopefully it'll go back up from that. But
you know, it's the wild thing that people are predicting now too. They're you know, and they're like, and I think it's weird because they often have like these nice due diligence reports and these actual like smart things about like, you know, shorts and stuff, things that clearly are way above our heads and pay grade. But you actually have people now saying that it is feasible for GameStop to reach $100,000 a share.
no. You're having a field day with that.
That is insanity. It's not happening.
No.
That is not happening.
No.
If that happens, I will eat a shoe live on this podcast.
Any shoe?
Or is there a specific type of shoe you want me to eat? You want me to eat some Timbs or something, or?
Yeah, like maybe like some steel toes or something.
That's a good way to get some iron.
Oh.
But nevertheless, that is sort of all we have for right now. So we are going to conclude the stock scoop. Now, Apple. Apple has, according to TechCrunch, is reported that Apple has, in fact, discontinued production on the original HomePod.
Yes, and I actually have the article right here from TechCrunch.com. The writer is specifically Matthew Panzarino, so
Thanks,
thank
Matt.
you for that. Yes, thank you. So he states, Apple has discontinued its original HomePod after 4 years, so not the Mini, just that giant HomePod.
Mm-hmm.
It says that it will continue to produce and focus on the HomePod Mini introduced last year. The larger HomePod offered a beefier sound space, but the Mini has been very well received and clearly accomplishes many of the duties that the larger version was tasked with. The sound is super solid, especially for the size, and it offers access to Siri, Apple's assistant feature. And honestly, I am inclined to agree here. So I've never owned the regular sized HomePod, but I did purchase a HomePod Mini. I did review it on the channel. And the sound is really good for something that's so compact, so tiny. Its only downfall is that, one, it has Siri, and two, it pretty much only accepts music from Apple Music.
Yeah, very locked into the Apple ecosystem.
Yeah.
In order to use that. We learned that one kind of the hard way when we tried to purchase one for my father for Christmas, and it turns out that it doesn't really work out for him because he has a Samsung phone.
Yeah.
Now, granted, he wants to get the hell out of Samsung.
And he does want an iPhone.
He's leaning towards an iPhone in the future, yes.
Okay.
The only problem is that because of certain impairments and things that he needs for accessibility, he does need one of the bigger models. So, we're talking about Pro Max.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, that is indeed money.
So like he's gonna ride onto this phone until it breaks down entirely, but we don't know how long it's gonna be. So sadly, he had to return the HomePod Mini because the amount of work, like it is feasible to play music from an Android phone to a HomePod Mini, but the amount of workarounds you have to do for that is just extremely
it's not worth it.
Inconvenient. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, it's not worth it. You shouldn't have to do that for any kind of product that is designed to be easy to use. Now, granted, the HomePod Mini is made to work with the ecosystem, Apple products, iPhones, iPads, Macs, etc. More so with Apple Music. And, for somebody like me that prefers Spotify over Apple Music any day, especially because we have deals that come with Hulu, which is nice. That is just unfortunate. I did enroll in a trial for 3 months, but I forgot to cancel it. So I got charged $10 just the other day for it, and I was like, oh, right, I forgot about that. Ooh, but it's fine, I guess, because at least Apple Music, they do have a very vast library, pretty close to what Spotify has. I'm not going to say that they're the same. I think Spotify's is larger for sure, but Apple Music is still doing pretty well. So, I can understand people who would still go with the HomePod Mini in that case. I mean, it is a really good sounding speaker. Now, the original HomePod was apparently amazing. So it is unfortunately that they're discontinuing it. I'm pretty sure that it is because of how expensive it was.
Mm-hmm.
Like Google actually made something very similar to the HomePod. It was called the Google Home Max, I think. Something like that. It was like this big of a speaker. And it was very similarly priced to the Apple HomePod, and I'm pretty sure that neither of them really sold all that well because they're just really expensive smart speakers. But the Google Home Mini, or the Nest Mini, I should say, has sold so well. Constantly being given away through like Spotify giveaways on YouTube. Even Google like puts them out on sale for like half off sometimes. And stuff like that, which makes them cost just $25. Like they're just so easy to get. They're so easy to set up. And the HomePod Mini is very similar in that respect, even though it does cost double the amount. But I believe that if you do have an iPhone, it is certainly worth paying the 100% increase on that to get much better sound and that nice little RGB animation on top.
Yes. I mean, I also think Apple just wants to focus on the HomePod Mini because they can actually get more money out of that than it would with the regular HomePod.
Yeah.
Because like the regular HomePod was, at least towards the end, it seems $300. Which I do think $300 was the price the entire time. I know you're saying that's probably a sale, but I feel like that was the entire price.
No,
But
I'm pretty sure it started at $400.
in any case,
Yeah.
with the HomePod, you buy one HomePod. With the HomePod Mini, they often sell them in bundles. Like you can buy a 4-pack of HomePod Minis and just bug the entire house with, HomePod Mini in the bedroom, HomePod Mini in the living room, HomePod in the bathroom, HomePod in the kitchen.
Yeah. I guess a setup like that would work for a New York City apartment because you would certainly have enough and maybe too many HomePods in that case.
For New York City apartments, yeah. For a house, I could see it working for a house perfectly fine, though.
Sure, yeah. Like, again, you would have one in the kitchen, one in the baby's room or something, so that he can request music from Siri too. You could have one in the living room and another one maybe even in the bathroom.
Can't you also talk through them as well? Be
Uh,
like, hey Siri, voice me, and then you get to go yell at your kids.
I know that you can do that with the Echo.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm not too sure about the HomePod. Maybe you could, but I'm not entirely sure.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
So, it's an interesting thing to hear about, but I don't think anyone's too sad about it. I mean, so the report says that HomePod Original's sound quality was better, but
Yeah.
sales-wise, which one do you think was doing significantly? Yeah, way better. I cannot talk today.
Well, don't worry about it. That's me every single day, every podcast episode. I would say that the HomePod Mini was certainly doing better than the original HomePod purely because of price to performance. The HomePod obviously sounded better because it was bigger, so like it just had a lot more room for better tweeters. It just allowed for a lot more, but because of the price, it just wasn't as easy to get into. And honestly, I think that anybody that wanted the original HomePod already went and got one. So
You always say that whenever something is discontinued. Anyone who wanted this expensive device probably already has it. I don't know. What if someone's like saving up money from like a lemonade stand and
for a HomePod,
yeah, now they're being hit with the devastating news that it's gone.
no. Well,
What am I supposed to do with this money? Buy 1.5 HomePod Minis? I was halfway there.
well, they can buy an iPad now. Actually, a base iPad. So they actually get more out of it. It was that point of realization
Okay,
where they realized that lemonade money could go into lemonade
okay,
iPad,
but the iPad is not pod shaped.
but it still plays music, just like the HomePod, and it has Siri, just
But
like
it's
the
not
HomePod.
in pod form.
Fine.
Remember Alf? He's back in pog form.
I mean, fine. Like we can get her some like Tide Pods or something. There you go. iPad,
Dated.
iPod. Yes, very dated.
Somehow that felt even more dated than my Simpsons joke. And yet you deleted the crickets button.
Ah, my apologies. Oh, man. Well, guess we're just going to have to live without it. I need to get rid of that button, too. Actually,
No, you're not getting rid of that button. It's the shame corner.
Oh, right. It is the NVIDIA shame corner.
That is the NVIDIA shame corner, which we'll talk about NVIDIA on the next episode.
Yes, indeed.
We have some more NVIDIA stuff, as always.
In fact, there are some news around them. But
I want to see like a chart. I want to see like a sort of like data chart of the subjects that we talk about the most on the podcast. Not because I wonder what it could be. I just want to see how much higher NVIDIA's graphics card nonsense is, like how much higher it is than the next thing, which I have no idea what the next thing would be. Either AMD or maybe Nintendo stuff. I don't know, but
I mean, that would be pretty tough because NVIDIA is just all over the place. They've shown everybody how little they care about their general consumers.
Yeah, exactly. I just want to see like a data of like how many times we've spoken about NVIDIA on this podcast and how many more times we're going to, starting with the next episode, but not today.
Right, yes. We are holding our cards until then.
And
but we do have some more news.
That is right, yes. The official... excuse me. Not talk.
Say it. Say it. Tell them all.
Excuse me.
Tell them all what happened.
The sale of ZeniMax, it is technically ZeniMax, the sale of ZeniMax to Microsoft has been made official as of this week. So, Microsoft now owns Bethesda and all of its IP. And, we already knew about this from a couple months ago, what the plans were. Obviously these things can take a little while. You have to, it has to get approved by, various boards around the world. The US had to approve it. Europe also approved it. And I think Europe approving it was the point where it's like, it's official because...
I see.
People were theorizing for a long time as to what was going to happen with certain Bethesda titles.
And exactly what we thought was going to happen ended up happening.
No.
You don't think?
I thought it was going to happen, but a lot of people were thinking elsewhere. But...
well, that's not what I saw.
We'll get into that in a moment. Phil Spencer, let's just get that out of the way. Phil Spencer did speak about the sale and spoke about what's going to happen. And while they also announced 20 of Bethesda's titles to immediately show up on Game Pass the very next day, now it's got to go. Showing up on Game Pass the very next day. Spencer also did, in fact, confirm.
For those listening, he just tossed his phone. I just don't want to leave that unaddressessed.
That happens. It happens every episode.
Sort of.
Basically every episode. Because that's the point when everyone decides to try texting me and getting into reach with me. And
you know what? I feel that. I can relate to that frustration.
But in any case, Phil Spencer spoke about the sale. And he confirmed that Bethesda titles, with the exception of those that are already having existing contractual obligations, all Bethesda titles will only appear exclusively on platforms that support Game Pass, which means Xbox and PC. Not PS5.
Or Switch.
But mostly PS5.
Right.
Because naturally... everyone was coming up with all of these different theories and ideas as to what was going to happen to ensure that Elder Scrolls 6 will happen on PS5. It's not happening on PS5. Give up.
Yeah. I mean, unfortunately, considering this acquisition, while I'm not happy about it, I do still kind of support Bethesda and Microsoft going in this direction because Microsoft does need better exclusives.
Exactly. I was going to say, this is simply a product of everyone complaining about Microsoft. What was the common thread throughout this entire past generation? Why are you buying Xbox One? There's no exclusives. Xbox has no exclusives. All they have is Halo and Gears. Why do you buy Xbox? There's no exclusives. Yeah. Xbox just got themselves some exclusives.
Yeah. And
that is a simple,
very important one for that matter.
Now, you can complain about the fact that they had to buy their exclusives. Sure, I guess. I mean...
isn't that the case for Sony, too? Didn't they...
I was going to ask, do they officially own Naughty Dog, or are they simply just parted with Naughty Dog?
That's most likely just a partnership. I don't think that Sony necessarily owns Naughty Dog. I could be totally wrong on that, but
I mean,
I don't think so.
nevertheless, you're never going to see Naughty Dog making a game for any other system.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's one thing. We're over here talking about, like, I know a couple episodes ago we were talking about how a bunch of PlayStation exclusives are going to start coming to PC. I don't think we see Uncharted or Last of Us show up on PC at all.
No, most
don't
likely
think so.
not. No, like
I-
those have been PlayStation for so long.
Like, Naughty Dog is so tightly wound into PlayStation's DNA. Like, they're never going to show up on another platform.
Yeah.
So, like, the same way that Sony has a bunch of developers partnered or owned that constantly make games for PlayStation exclusively, you know, it only makes sense that Microsoft decides to go in the other direction and, you know, does the same thing. Are we happy about it? Not necessarily, but again, everyone was complaining that Microsoft had no exclusives, so they went and they got some.
I think they had to do something, and I think that this is a very massive step forward for them. Like, now, Doom is going to be Xbox and PC exclusives, probably. Starfield.
Starfield,
yeah.
which there are apparently rumors. I didn't even know about this. There are apparently rumors that Starfield could, in fact, be releasing this year.
This year.
Yes. The reason why a lot of so apparently there's been like small little leaks and tidbits and stuff like that when it comes to Bethesda and Starfield.
Mhm.
You know, some small little things to suggest that it could be coming out this year. And it actually makes sense too, because if you remember last time Bethesda made a big game, Fallout 4, they didn't officially announce it.
I think you mean Fallout 76.
No. Actual no. We're talking about like actual mainline things.
Right.
So, you know, from the big Bethesda studio, your Skyrim, your Fallout, and stuff like that.
Mhm.
So Fallout 4 was the last title that they developed and released. And if you remember from that one, they announced it just 6 months before it launched.
Right.
Like, they announced it and said, okay, it's coming out in November, and that's it.
And there are more
So-
than 6 months left to the year, so I guess that is a possibility.
So, yeah, like, there's a lot of... The idea seems to be that the running trend is that Bethesda will only announce a game like that when it's like relatively close to release.
Mhm.
The reason why, and this has to be reiterated every single time people start complaining about Elder Scrolls 6 taking forever to develop or whatever, we have to reiterate it one more time. The reason why they announced Starfield and Elder Scrolls 6 so early is because they were showing off an Elder Scrolls mobile game. And they wanted to ensure to people, no, we're not just doing mobile games now. There is another Elder, because you know.
They learned from what happened to Blizzard.
No, this was before Blizzard.
Oh, this happened before Blizzard?
Was it before Blizzard?
I think it happened after. I'm pretty sure.
I mean, even before Blizzard, though, Nintendo did the same thing. Nintendo was showing off all of these mobile games, and they were like, relax, we're not leaving the console market. NX is a thing. And naturally, everyone's talking about NX. When was NX? When is it coming? It's the same thing here.
Okay.
It is the same thing here. Like, they realize that they don't want to finish off with a mobile game and make people think that, oh, they're just abandoning the main stuff now, you know? Because we hadn't heard about Elder Scrolls in a while.
Yeah.
You had Elder Scrolls Online, and now they're announcing, you know, a mobile game. People are wondering, is that it? There's no more Elder Scrolls 6? They basically just put that out there just to be like, relax, we are going to work on it.
Yeah, we still need to explore every what is it, like province? On the
Haven't you?
continent of
Oh, I actually don't know too much about Elder Scrolls lore because I'm one of those casuals who only really played Skyrim.
Okay, so there are about, I think, 7 provinces, or I think 8 maybe. Actually,
Question: is Daggerfall Providence, or is that just
Yes.
the name of Elder Scrolls 2?
no. Well, it's both.
I know it's both, but like it was an actual Providence.
Yes, it is.
So essentially, we've explored 4, or do you want, or was Elder Scrolls 1 also its own Providence?
Elder Scrolls 1 is just called Elder Scrolls Arena. I actually don't really remember where that one takes place, but
So 4 or 5.
Well, Elder Scrolls 4 took place in
Oblivion.
Cyrodiil. No, Oblivion is not
Darn
the
it!
name of the place. It's just the name of the game. Oblivion is just a place that you can explore. It's hell.
Okay.
You scrub.
Okay, yeah. Please shower me with your nerd cred.
3 was in Morrowind. 5 was in Skyrim.
See, and that's why I thought Oblivion was the name of the place, because Morrowind is Skyrim.
I know. And I'm pretty sure that by now we know that Elder Scrolls 6 is going to be in Elsewhere. That's what it's called. It's essentially the land of the high elves.
Oh, so it's gonna be very fantasy, very.
Most likely, like it's not going to be very swampy like Morrowind was.
Good.
Yeah, I didn't get to play Morrowind, but I think I have it on PC.
I will confess, I am very picky with my high fantasy. Like I don't like the idea of swamplands like in Morrowind. Oblivion felt very kind of generic to me, honestly, from the little that I was able to play.
I think that's fair.
Skyrim I liked because it was just so frozen. Like,
Me
it
too.
was all just frozen mountains and tundra. Like that, I was interested in that.
Yeah, and
that interested me. So
honestly, like the first DLC to Skyrim was also really good in my opinion.
I didn't play it.
Dawnguard. Oh well, you're missing out.
I know.
Yeah, yeah. Like that's
maybe I'll pick it up on Nintendo Switch for $60 MSRP.
I mean, it goes on sale pretty often.
Not. It should be $20.
Well, not on Switch, remember.
It should be 20. I know the Switch tax, but
yeah, and the Switch tax it always remains consistent.
But nevertheless,
yes.
Reverting backwards,
Mm.
yes, there's evidence that Starfield could be releasing this year, and they always said from the get-go that Elder Scrolls 6 would not be releasing until after Starfield did.
Mm-hmm.
So if Starfield does release this year, then that means we're still waiting another 2 or 4 years for Elder Scrolls 6. Starfield, it's up in the air, but it's more than likely a Microsoft exclusive. If it's releasing this year, it's entirely possible that it could be coming to PS4 and 5.
Actually, I think it could.
Elder Scrolls
because
6.
they've already announced that game a long time ago and kind of like teased it to
all they
everywhere.
did was show like an After Effects screensaver. That's all they did.
After Effects.
Yeah, I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna count the announcements back then. Although again, I can say that because Starfield was in development, whereas Elder Scrolls was probably like, oh, we're doing some concept art.
Yeah,
That's the thing. Elder Scrolls 6, give up. That's exclusive to Microsoft. That's it.
I'm pretty certain of that too. But I think Starfield does have a possibility of actually making it over.
It is a chance, but I wouldn't count on it either necessarily. Like,
yeah.
It's entirely possible that, maybe the deal was already in talks for a while, and so like a lot of the developers were told to just cut all development on Sony product. Just work on the Microsoft ones. The only games that we know are guaranteed to show up on PlayStation because of previous contractual obligations is Deathloop, which is a timed exclusive.
Okay.
And Ghostwire Tokyo, which was announced, but we haven't seen much of it since that E3 a couple of years ago now with the one lady that everyone fell in love with. The one who was trying her hardest with English. she was nice. She seemed nice.
Oh, yeah.
But
she was pretty charming.
Yeah. But in any case, yeah, those are the only two games that from Bethesda that we know of that are likely, or not even likely, they are coming to PlayStation still.
Yeah.
Because there was already previous obligations.
Yeah, but Elder Scrolls 6, people can pretty much be rest assured that it will not be coming to Sony's platform, so...
Elder Scrolls 6, Doom 3, Wolfenstein 3 if they do one.
Wait, Doom 3? Are you...
Modern Doom 3.
Okay.
Technically Doom 6.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's the same... listen. It's the same way how people say Shadow of the Tomb Raider is Tomb Raider 3. When it's technically like Tomb Raider 11 or something like that.
Yeah, there's so many Tomb Raider games.
It's modern timeline. Modern iteration Doom 3.
It's confusing.
Fallout 5.
Microsoft's nomenclature for their consoles makes more sense.
Dishonored 3 if they decide to go back to that. Although Arcane has sort of said that they're kind of done with the World of Dunwall for a while at the very least, if not permanently.
I don't really blame them. I only got to play 1. I do own 2. Is 2 any good?
I didn't fully finish it, but yeah, 2's good.
Okay.
And Death of the Outsider was also apparently really good. But the idea of Death of the Outsider, I think, was to sort of wrap up most of the story ties in Dunwall. And they just were like, okay, we did what we could here. That's it for now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get moving towards new stuff. And that's what Deathloop came from.
I see.
I'm trying to remember if it was Arcane or and also Prey. They also did Prey. That's right.
Okay.
What's it called? They showed in the Bethesda announcement about the sale. And I'm trying to remember which studio it was, but I think one of the studios from under Bethesda is in fact working on an Indiana Jones game as well. That's definitely going to be Microsoft exclusive now.
I did hear about that.
It's very interesting. The thing is, I almost got mixed up too because I'm thinking, wait, wasn't I? No, I was making the James Bond game. Okay, to be fair though, IO Interactive making James Bond it makes perfect sense. Let's be real here. Come on.
It's so hilarious, the games around James Bond and Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones is a funny one because I'm trying to remember, look it up. I'm trying to remember which one. I don't think it was Arcane. I don't think it was Arcane, but there was a Bethesda studio that was like talking about making an Indiana Jones game, and they teased it in the press release and the little announcement video.
Lucasfilm Games and Bethesda announced new Indiana Jones game. Today, Lucasfilm Games and Bethesda Softworks announced a new Indiana Jones game being developed by the award-winning studio Machine Games.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so there you go.
All right.
Yeah.
That's Microsoft exclusive now.
Oh, man,
I mean,
I really wanted to play the Indiana
fair,
Jones game.
To be fair, for people who do have an Xbox or a PC, like you and I, this is really cool because, like, say, for example, when Elder Scrolls does come out, you don't got to pay for it. Straight to Game Pass. Straight to Game Pass.
Ah, I guess I should subscribe to Game Pass.
like for like all of these Bethesda games will now come straight to Game Pass, guaranteed, and that's fantastic. No extra costs.
I'll do that. I think I'll do that.
Which again, it makes sense because it is interesting because again, Microsoft has said in the past that their strategy right now isn't to get people to buy Xbox, but to just get people on Game Pass. So like say for example, if you're a PC gamer, they don't really care if you get an Xbox or not. They would like it if you got an Xbox, but they also recognize that you're probably not going to get one, so they would rather focus on getting you on Game Pass.
So it's more so about just like getting you wrapped up in the ecosystem rather than necessarily trying to sell you on hardware right away, which is a pretty smart strategy, actually.
Yes, it is. So what it comes down to is, like, say, for example, if you are a PS5 gamer, you have two options. Either A, you build yourself a decent PC and you get Game Pass over there so you can play these games. Or you could just buy them. They're probably going to come on Steam and stuff like that too. Or B, you get yourself an Xbox because you don't want to deal with the idea of building a PC, and also building a PC is expensive.
Yeah.
Don't care what anyone says over here. Building a PC is in fact expensive now, especially because sales aren't as good as they used to be. And in the case of Game Pass, if we're talking about Game Pass, you're talking about $10 a month in either direction. $10 a month on, say, for example, an Xbox Series S for $300 versus $10 a month on a PC that will probably cost $600 or $700, give or take. Maybe probably even more, but I want to.
If you buy pre-built, sure.
I'm banking on like by then prices will have dropped a little bit when it comes to performance to match a Series S. Series S.
Let's see. I mean, the Series, like supposedly the Series S is actually not really that great of a performer right now.
No, it's just I use that one as an idea of just a budget one. Like I don't care how it performs. I just want to play Elder Scrolls 6.
I gotcha. I understand, but it does seem like it's just kind of like while we're on the topic of this, like it does seem like the Xbox Series S will be outclassed probably within the next 2 years or so.
Yeah, that's
from
what
my
I'm thinking,
estimations. Yeah, I don't know. Like maybe when the Xbox Series XX comes out,
Series double X.
Yeah. Oh, X squared. I remember where the button is. You can't stop me now.
No, I cannot. But in any case, it's a product of the business. It happens. You have people who are now trying to redirect around. Because the thing is, a lot of people are obviously looking at how Microsoft has treated Minecraft since they bought it and how Minecraft is available on all these other platforms. And so they were thinking, maybe they'll do the same thing for Elder Scrolls. Nope.
No.
They've clearly made it clear now. Nope.
No. It would be a loss for them if they did.
So now they shifted over to the next conspiracy theory after Phil Spencer said what he said, and now they're thinking, ooh, maybe Sony already signed a contractual obligation to release Elder Scrolls on PS5, so it's still coming.
That's highly unlikely.
It's not happening, guys. Give it up. It's over.
Just get a PC. It's fine. Don't worry.
Just get a PC.
I say it like it's that easy.
Or again, later on down the road, when the game comes out, get yourself a Series S, the budget Xbox, which more than likely at that point will also be on sale for like $200 or something like that, maybe even cheaper.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure that Microsoft is also probably going to acquire other studios to get even more exclusives that people might be even more interested in.
They might take a break for a little bit, I think, but I don't know.
I don't think so.
I mean,
I think they need to go really strong for this generation because already, like the start of of the Xbox One when that first released in 2013. It was a complete crap show.
Yeah.
You know, like it did not sell very well because they just had a bad start, you know? So this time around, they have to start off strong.
Right.
They had to show people the value in going with Xbox versus going with PlayStation 5 this time around. And one of those values is Game Pass, and especially having exclusives of their own coming to Game Pass, which is a pretty big deal.
It really is, especially when you have something like Elder Scrolls. You know, Skyrim's one of the best-selling games of all time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just...
I bought it on my PC. I played the special edition again on my PC. I got it on the 360. I got it on the Switch. Those are 4 different platforms, and I probably have it somewhere else.
If it was cheaper, I would totally buy it on the Switch. I just don't want to spend $40 for it. Even on sale, it's $40 or so, isn't it? Or has it gone to 30?
It has gone down to 30 and even lower, I think, on Switch.
I want 20 or less.
20 or less? Okay, then look at it on PC.
I already got it on PC.
Oh, okay.
I want the portable. I want the portability.
I do feel you.
I want the portability. That's the kind of reason why you would want anything on Switch. I want the portability.
I know.
But yeah, so
with that said, I think we can pretty much call this a day.
Yeah, it really is. I think you guys need to sort of give up on the dream of things like Elder Scrolls coming to PlayStation. The only way it's going to happen at this point is, in fact, if like Sony allowed Game Pass on the PlayStation, which absolutely not.
No,
that's cannibalizing into their own sales. Because remember, you know, Xbox exclusives are not the only thing that are on Game Pass. There's also a lot of third-party titles. Sony would rather pick up those sales themselves.
Yeah, or maybe Sony could actually start a service like Microsoft's, but it's highly unlikely.
PlayStation Plus is the sale.
No. I did get the remake on PlayStation 5 though, because it was available for PlayStation Plus members. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally understand that. You know what? I actually found an interesting thing when everyone was talking about this stuff. Something very interesting. Microsoft has more money on hand than Sony is worth total, entirely.
Yes, because Sony, they do have a lot of divisions, a lot of ways of making money, but Microsoft has been just so much more profitable.
Way bigger, I know.
Yeah.
In any case, we're going to have to wrap up. If you guys are watching on YouTube, all that social media will be right down over here at the bottom.
And if you're listening on other platforms, do not forget to check out the social media that is going to be in the description of the description apps. Dedicated apps. Sorry. But with that said, this has been Francisco.
And Chris.
Until next time, enjoy.
Good night. Travel well.
No rap song for tonight.